Okay, so hopefully you have drawn your cross-halving joint either in parts or as one piece, and you've made an assembly, irrespective of whether you've made it into two parts or in one individual model. It doesn't really matter. It's whichever you find handiest. So I'm going to add this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a drawing. So I'm going to create drawing. So go down to the corner there with the wee plus and I create drawing. I have a template already done, but you can use any of the templates that are there. Just pick the size of whether it's A3 or A4 or whatever you're going to draw on. So I've picked out a basic drawing template that I have here. The only advantage to this is there's certain details that are filled in, school crest and what have you. And you'll see as well too, what I'm going to do up here, you can pick a part or you can pick an assembly, and I'm going to pick the cross-halving assembly here. It doesn't matter, I could pick this one here either. So I pick in the cross-halving joint, and the title of it should come up here on it. But before I put it in on the drawing, see now I'll take that back a wee bit. You can see it's quite small on the drawing there, so I'm going to go to the scale and I'm going to put in 1:1. And then I can take this to wherever I think is going to be look okay on the sheet. And now I should take this out because you might not be able to see it that terribly well. So I've got three views. I've got the front and looking down and from the top, and I've looking in from the end. And what I can do here is I need to get out of this view here at the minute because I'm not going to be using that. So I escape from that. I pick this. I'm going to right click it and I'm going to show the hidden lines because it goes across the back there like that. I'm going to do that for each of them. Show the hidden lines, show hidden lines, show or hide. Now I could write a little bit in here, but I'm not going to just yet, and I'm going to put in, I might move that up a wee bit just to kind of keep things out of the road a wee bit. Move that over a bit, leave myself a wee bit of space over here. And what I'd like to do now is I'd like to insert another view. This time I just need to go to insert, and you can see there I've got the horizontal piece. I'll pick that just as part. Now this is an individual part. This is the advantage of drawing maybe in parts, you know, you can put in the individual parts then, like but I'm sure you can do it from the other one as well too. Scale 1:1 might be too big now, so I might go to the 1:2. I don't want the front view, I'd like to get an isometric view of this and take it over here, and I'll just stick it in here. And the pieces come up there, and you can see the scale is written beside it, 1:2. I'll leave that in there, and then I should be able to show shaded view. I'll give it a wee bit of colour on the drawing, and I'm going to go back to my insert here again. I'm going to insert view. I want to insert. I'm going to insert. That's the horizontal, so I'll insert the vertical one. And again, scale 1:2 is what I used, and I'm going to go isometric instead of the front of it. I'll draw it, I'll put it in here. And that would be known as a exploded view when the two pieces are taken apart. But it's not exactly right, but when you have the two pieces open like that, it gives a wee bit better view of the piece itself. And what we might want to do then is maybe just an assembled view, insert. We'll go back to the insert and we'll go pick the model. That's the pieces, two pieces together. So now I'm going to pick each of those two pieces. Oh, I'll undo that. I've done that too quickly. I see now, bring focus back in. May have to get rid of those. Escape. Delete that and delete that. Go back to my insert view. We want to put in, say, the model. Now it's coming up as the two pieces individually, which is not right, so I'm going to get rid of that. Do it again, insert view. Might have to go to my assembly this time actually, insert, and go to the assemblies. Yeah. Now I have two drawings of it, like you'll probably only have one, like, you know, so it doesn't really matter for me. I'm going to pick any of the two of them. I'm going to go 1:2, and I'm going to pick it isometric as well and bring it over here. So I'm getting a whole load of different views in here. 1:2. I put that in as a shaded view as well too. show shaded view, and I can move them around wherever I want then, however I want to have the pieces shown together. And another thing I'd want to do in a drawing as well too is I'd like to put in a few notes. So I'm going to put in that this is then an elevation. I don't like the 3.5 in the scale of a drawing, so I'm going to change that to 6, and then I'm going to do my bit of typing here. Now let's come back to the 6, enter, and put in my note, and go to caps, elevation, and I'll stretch that out so that it's just so that if I want to move these guys around, I'll put in my note over here. I'm not too worried about the placement of them. Down the drop down, once you typed in one, you can use the drop down then for your size of your note. And I've wrote in the wrong thing there now, and you'll see how I can move it around. And view. Now it's not the right size. I need to get it to the 6. And over here I can write in, probably the smaller note might do me over here, is I can put in, it mightn't look right maybe, so I'll go with the 6. Isometric, and exploded view. Go with the 6 again. Now you see the way it's crunched up there. If I stretch this out, it'll have no problem fitting it in, and I can keep it a wee bit tidier than that. So escape that. That's in the wrong place. This should be up here. This should be here, and you can sometimes it'll kick in with a wee alignment tool, so it doesn't seem to be doing it there for me. And you can shorten those. Exploded view, isometric. And if I wanted to throw in a line there as well too, where maybe it's in line with this, and I can put in my note as well too for an X. I think maybe the 6 might be too big for that, and we'll put that, and we can always move them around as well too. Okay, that. Escape, so as I'm not writing a whole load more notes. I'll bring that up way up to here, and I'll bring the X on a bit as well too. Focus, and I don't think we're too bad there. Maybe the Y is a bit far out from that. So we have now basically a drawing done there. If I'm using my notes in here, title is a cross Halving joint, I could put in the title could have this working drawing, and I'll stretch that out, and you can put in your name here, and you've got the scale 1:1, it's sheet 1 of 1, and you have a working drawing then without the dimensions. So we need to stick in a few dimensions. I can hit escape to get rid of the note, and we'll put in a few dimensions. So there's the height, and one of the nice things about this as well too is I should really have drawn that a wee bit further out. We'll see, we'll put it in the middle. There's always ways around these things. That's 44. I don't like that side of it. Right, move that a wee bit, and I'll put in my 44s then. Very basic, and I can move these around afterwards. I'll just randomly get them in, and I can tidy them up as well too as I go on. I suppose I could go to the plan for these dimensions. And the only dimension I really need then, I suppose, is the trench. So from there to there is 15, and I suppose I can take that from there to there is 30. Now you can see that that's not perfect by any means, but I gives you an idea of how you can put in your different dimensions for each of the views. And we'll go focus there again. Now when you have that done, then in order to draw this here, or to print it, you need to export it, and I'd export it as a PDF so that you can actually print it then from here. So it should show up along this bottom line as well too. See there, now is my PDF drawn. That'll show up. Now if I go into that there very lot closer, I see my line isn't just perfectly in line there at the bottom. I think it's not too far away, but it's not just right either. I need to redo that. So I could go back into my drawing here. I can delete that. Maybe the better way is to come from the corner of the drawing, and the X is probably showing me that. Come out. Focus. Yeah. That line should have it a wee bit better. Yeah, I'd have to export it again because I'm after making a change to that. But once you have the change made, then you're good to go. That's your work and drawn, and I'll leave it at that.